WMDT 47 News, live at 11.
Although the national foreclosure rate is dropping, nearly 1 in 5 homes with mortgages are still considered underwater. What this could mean for potential homeowners in Delmarva.
Plus, the town revitalization efforts continue across the Eastern Shore. Details on the latest city looking to breathe some new life into their downtown area.
And with the new school year just around the corner, local officials want to prepare students with more than just pencils and books. How about a little peace of mind? Good evening and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Emily Lampa.
And I'm David Caldwell. More news in less time starts now.
And we'll get to those stories in just a minute, but first we have a developing story out of Dover this evening where a state and local agencies are now on the hunt for 2 armed suspects. Dover police say this all started about 2 hours ago when dispatch received a report about 4 to 5 shots fired on the 200 block of Sheldrake Circle in the Cannon Mills development. When they arrived on the scene, the officers reportedly witnessed 2 male suspects taking off on foot, and since they did not recover any weapons, police have reason to believe they are still armed and dangerous. At this point, police believe no one was injured in the gunfire, and a number of Dover police patrols, as well as a Delaware State Police chopper, is still out searching.
Every homeowner fears the word foreclosure, but nationwide statistics show many housing markets across the country are recovering from the foreclosure crisis. However, that does not appear to be the case in Maryland. WMDT's Kelly Rule reports tonight.
275%. That's how much Maryland's foreclosure filings skyrocketed in just 1 year.
Which is extremely high, and it's sad.
It appears Maryland is number 2 in the U.S. for foreclosure activity coupled with bank repossessions. But why Maryland and why now? Analysts say state legislation and court rulings kept a lid on foreclosure activity during the worst of the housing crisis. And now, foreclosures are boiling over.
Some of those homeowners were in the process of either getting ready to be filed, were filed, and then it just stopped.
But not all hope is lost. In Wacomico County, while foreclosure rates are high,
we're seeing a lot of them sell.
About 20% more homes are selling now than this time last year. Many people associate foreclosed homes with negative conditions, but realtors say there's really no difference between these homes and ones that are owner-occupied.
They really are in good condition.
And realtors say housing prices and interest rates are low, making it a good time to buy. But to keep you out of trouble, make sure the monthly payment is very comfortable. And if you already own a home and are worried about your financial situation, experts say don't wait to get help. Kelly Rule, WMDT 47 News.
And if you are looking for ways to get help, there are many local resources available. Check out Kelly's story on our homepage for all of that information.
If you plan to spend the last days of summer in Ocean City, make sure you've got some change on hand because the new controversial paid parking meters are still in effect. Monday, Councilman Brent Ashley made a motion to cover up those machines in the areas affected by the paid parking ordinance until the official signature count of a more than 16,000 signature petition is verified. But we're told that got shot down. In Delaware, work on the Dover Bridge is set to begin next Thursday. Now, routine maintenance by the State Highway Administration will take place on the 29th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. This will require workers to open the bridge for short periods of time. Officials say drivers should be prepared for minor traffic delays.
Delaware Attorney General Beau Biden remains under medical care this evening after undergoing a successful procedure in Texas. Now, details of what that procedure exactly was have not yet been released. Biden will reportedly head back home to Delaware tomorrow. We've also learned that his father, Vice President Joe Biden, has canceled an event that he was to headline in Rhode Island tomorrow in order to stay with his son.
WMDT 47 News First Forecast.
Good evening, I'm meteorologist Stephen Shively, and yesterday we finally got above that 80-degree mark today, and today we were well above 80 degrees, 89 actually in Salisbury, and with the heat index, it felt like around 95 degrees in our afternoon hours, so a very warm and a very humid day across the Eastern Shore, but we managed to avoid those rain showers. However, overnight tonight, that won't be the case. Right now, we are tracking showers and thunderstorms on the other side of the bay, and that will be crossing over in the next hour or two, and that means we are going to have a wet overnight period. but the good news, it looks like we'll dry out by our morning. So just a very muggy and a very wet for the next few hours. 75 degrees in Salisbury right now, and I'll have your full 7-day coming up, including the great weekend forecast. But first, back to you, Emily.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Police charge a Gaithersburg man in connection with a reported sexual assault which happened back in June in Ocean City. Now, authorities say a group of people were staying at a rented condo together. The victim told police they were drinking, and when she went to sleep, she was allegedly raped by 25-year-old Luis Calderon. Now, Calderon has been booked on a number of assault charges, and he has since been released on bond. And now moving to Newark, Delaware, where shots were fired during a dispute on the University of Delaware basketball courts Monday night. University officials report that 2 men were playing ball, and then things quickly escalated when a verbal altercation turned physical. Apparently, after things settled down, one of the men pulled a gun from his vehicle and then shot at the other man before leaving the scene. While students have not yet been moved back onto campus, they are expected back Friday.
Also in Delaware, state police say they're still investigating a skimming device which was found within the fuel pumps at a Newcastle gas station. And police say it does not appear that the criminals are damaging the gas pumps in any way, and they may be gaining access using a key of some kind. The Delaware Department of Weights and Measures, which checks about 9,000 gas pumps annually, says once the criminals do gain access, the damage is done.
If they can get in behind that credit card reader, it'll take them all of 10 seconds to plug this device in, lock the door, and drive away.
Police say these cases are unusual for Delaware, but to be safe, they recommend using cash when you go to pump gas. And if you have to use a card, use it as credit and not the debit option. Or, of course, you can pay inside the station.
Now to downtown revitalization plans for Pocomoke City. WMDT's Cody Leibowitz reports.
9 months ago, Market Street Boutique was just a figment of Kim Jackson's imagination.
And I saw a real need here in Pocomoke for a ladies' dress shop.
She noticed an open storefront and 4 months later applied for a loan.
The little bit that I did have to start with basically covered, the first couple months of my rent.
The money Jackson received is a part of Pocomoke's downtown deferred loan redevelopment plan, allowing new and old business owners to receive up to $10,000 if they match the loan up front to start up a new business or upgrade an existing one. That's according to City Manager Russ Blake.
We always want to remember that our downtown is the heart of our community, and so we're trying to do what we can to maintain its durability.
Blake says if a business stays open for at least 5 years, then the loan is forgiven. It's what he calls an incentive to keep the downtown thriving. With at least 5 storefronts still vacant, Jackson hopes all the shops will one day be occupied and downtown will flourish once again.
I think that we are right on the verge of, some big things happening.
Cody Leibowitz, WMDT 47 News.
Well, Pocomoke City Manager Russ Blake tells WMDT that the city has already given out $17,000. But once that money runs out, he'll start looking at other ways of funding to help renovate the entire downtown. And nationwide, small business hiring is on the rise, which could be a sign of a stronger economy. Reports show that job creation for small companies has nearly doubled in the last 6 months. On top of that, small business borrowing and new franchises continue to grow. Experts say this too is positive, showing that there is a desire to take on new expenses and risks. For more on this, plus any of today's local headlines, you know where to turn, WMDT.com.
Well, the upcoming school year can be an anxious time for many kids and even parents, but some local communities are looking to ease that feeling. Snow Hill Elementary, middle, and high schools, among other schools in the community, held their 3rd annual block party tonight. Among the food and activities were tours for the families, something especially important this year with the advent of a new security system.
It makes for a nice feeling for the community to know that children are safe and that we don't have to worry about safety and security, we can worry about learning.
Among the updated safety programs are new locks on the front door, and guests will have to buzz into the office in order to be let inside the school. Now, there will also be an ID scanning system to make sure all visitors have proper clearance. And the back-to-school vibe was being felt across Delmarva today. as the University of Maryland Eastern Shore campus welcomed their new students. Today, about 800 freshmen moved into their dorms, but the fall move-in transition isn't over quite yet. Tomorrow, the new students of the class of 2017 will be joined by the other 2,700 returning undergrads who also live on campus.
Students are very excited, parents are very excited, and we as the administration, we're always excited to see new students, really entrust their educational experience to UMES.
A very exciting time indeed, and classes at UMES start on Monday.
Now to the stories making headlines across our nation this evening. We have an update tonight on Delaware's fire crew battling raging wildfires out west. After fighting a blaze in Utah for the past week, this 19-person crew began their new assignment today at the Howard Fire in Idaho. The area burning is currently around 200 acres, but is expected to grow. The 31,000-acre fire they were fighting in Utah has now reportedly been listed at more than 71% contained.
The NSA may be seeing even more of your personal activities than once thought. The Wall Street Journal reports that the NSA has the ability to access about 75% of online activity. According to that report, the agency sometimes picks up on phone calls that use internet connections, as well as emails between U.S. residents. The agency has legal authority to monitor calls coming into or going out of the country, as well as calls between other countries that are routed through the U.S. It's 35 years behind bars for the man responsible for the largest classified information leak in U.S. history. Last month, Army Private First Class Bradley Manning was found guilty of espionage, theft, and computer fraud after giving hundreds of thousands of documents to WikiLeaks. His lawyers are apparently already working on an appeal.
I will be submitting post-trial matters for him to the convening authority, and that is a time in which his sentence could be reduced. Hopefully the president does the right thing, and those are ruled out as options because he pardons them or he releases them with time served.
Not only will Manning serve time in a military prison, but he was also dishonorably discharged from the Army and stripped of his rank as Private First Class.
The family of the man suspected of kidnapping a 16-year-old Hannah Anderson and killing her mother and brother wants DNA samples to determine if the suspect fathered those children. James DiMaggio died during a shootout with police earlier this month, but in a strange twist, he reportedly left $112,000 to a surviving family member of his alleged victims, sparking suspicions amongst his family.
There's been a lot of rumors about whether or not Jim might be the father of either or both children. We find it very strange that he's left all this money without any explanation.
The DiMaggios say they're not going to contest the policy that gives the money to Hannah's grandmother. They just want to know if he was the father of those two children. Well, still to come tonight, a prominent figure in medicine switches sides on a debate being waged across the nation. Now, the White House is weighing in over the fight to legalize marijuana. We'll have those details.
And could your toothbrush be your greatest weapon against cancer? We'll explain in your Family Health Report. Stay with us.
Find these stories and more at WMDT.com.